This is Bob Sansevere with TwinCities.com. Web Sports producer Kevin Cusick. The other day, LeBron James was asked by NBA TV who he would put on his Mount Rushmore for the NBA. He went with Jordan, the usual guys. He went with Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and he put on Oscar Robertson, saying he would knock one of them off when it was his time.
Probably Bird.
Well, actually, I would knock two of them off because I think that both Bill Russell and George Mikan belong to Mount Rushmore because they revolutionized their games. So Mikan, he used to play for some team, some Laker team. But and I would knock off Bird and Oscar Robertson, who, by the way, was a phenomenal player in his day.
Averaged a double-double,
triple-double
in 1962. You can look it up.
And you could also look up, he averaged 9.5 assists in his career and I think 7.5 rebounds. He almost had a career triple-double.
But he had to go latch onto then Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to get his championship.
To win his one championship. Which is another thing, by the way. It was 16 championships for the two I put on, Bill Russell and George Mikan, compared to the, I think, 4 that Oscar Robertson and Larry Bird won.
It's hard
combined.
to leave Bill Russell's 13 championships on the table.
Yeah, and that's what's a little surprising.
Then you get that whole Wilt guy,
who doesn't even make the team. Or Alcindor later,
he was on
Jabbar.
the Mount Rushmore for something else.
Yes, he was. As a matter of fact, he was the only one there. I don't think there was room for anyone else. Now, but what I want to talk to you about is let's do the local teams: Vikings, Twins, Wolves. That's why we have lists here.
Bob gave me homework.
But it's not going to be Timberwolves. It's going to be Timberwolves and Lakers, previous Lakers, Minneapolis Lakers. Because quite frankly, I don't know if you can find 4 Timberwolves that are worthy. And we'll also do North Stars Wild.
Okay.
Let's start with the Vikings. Go.
Mr. Peterson.
I agree.
Mr. Page.
I agree.
Mr. Tarkenton.
I disagree.
And Mr. Grant.
I went players only. So we have a bit of a difference there.
Oh, what? You just make up the rules as you go along?
I do. Players, not coaches. But that's fine. No, that's fine.
Okay.
I went with Page, Carl Eller, Randy Moss, and Adrian Peterson. You know what the problem I had with Tarkenton? If in their prime, I think if they both were on the team in their prime, I may start Warren Moon ahead of Fran Tarkenton.
But Tarkenton was the quarterback for, about a dozen seasons total? The beginning of his career and then the end.
I have no... Fran's are terrific. Both Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I just think,
I'm a big Fran fan. But, that was the problem, though. I had them both so close that I knocked them both out of the mix.
I gave guys credit for longevity, kind of like the Baseball Hall of Fame.
But Warren Moon was around a while. Not with the Vikings,
Fran Tarkenton compiled
based on
many years.
How long he was here, yes. I will. Yes. I'm going back. You've swayed me. Now,
if you had to have if you could have coaches, would you have had Grant?
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. I have, frankly,
he already was
years ago. He was perfect. He didn't do anything. Years ago, I did a Mount Rushmore for everyone in the Twin Cities, and Bud was among those on my all-time Mount Rushmore. I was counting it here, and I also had Herbie Brooks, I believe, was. I
seem to remember you sent that in really late on a Friday.
Well, your recollection is incorrect. I think I sent it on a Saturday morning. No. Twins. This one, we should be pretty close on this.
Mr. Killebrew.
Yes.
Mr. Puckett.
Yes.
Mr. Carew.
Yes.
Mr. Maurer.
Tony Oliva.
See, I wanted Joe Mauer because the 3 batting titles for a catcher and the whole hometown angle and the fact that he's going to be with the Twins in perpetuity lifts him above Tony Oliva, who had some great seasons, but basically at least half the time he was on the Twins, he was damaged goods.
Well, the reason I put him on is the Hall of Fame doesn't want him, but I'll take him. That's how I feel. And he was a heck of a player. Nice. And you know what? Mauer, when he's done with his career, then we'll look at it. Although, I go back to AP, career or not, if his career ended now, he'd be on that, he'd have the visage on the Mount Rushmore.
Perhaps.
How about your Lakers/T-Wolves? I know we're not going to be close on this one.
Okay. Mr. Mikan.
Ding, ding, ding.
Another Laker, Mr. Mickelson.
Ding, ding, ding.
Then I have 2 Timberwolves, one Mr. Garnett.
Go ahead, and the last one?
And one with a caveat, Mr. Joe Smith. Because no player had more impact on the Timberwolves franchise over the last 15 years than Joe Smith because of the deal that brought him here, the illegal deal that ended up getting the franchise penalized for what seems like decades and decades.
You know what? They probably would have won.
Joe Smith, who was also the first Loop Man of the Year back 11 years ago.
Wow. Well, I always thought that if it wasn't for the Joe Smith thing, this team would have won 5 or 6 NBA titles by now. Completely derailed him.
That and the Stephon Marbury trade also didn't work out too good either.
I also had Jim Paul. I went with the front line for the old Lakers.
The old Lakers.
And five
also,
titles.
Slater Martin was another guy you could throw on there
put
if you're
KG
going
on
old
there.
Lakers. What about Kevin Love?
No.
Too early?
Too
And
early.
plus, he's going to be a Laker in about 4 months or something.
Too early.
Or 14 months.
Now, North Stars / Wild.
This one was kind of a hit or miss. One was obvious to me, Mr. Broughton.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cicerelli.
I got him.
Mr. Nanny.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead. Finish yours, and I'll explain mine.
And Mr. Bobby Smith.
Well, you missed one that I thought was quite obvious. The best of that bunch, I think, was Mike Modano.
Yeah, but most of his career was spent in Dallas.
He spent a good
Notice how I
early on. He was
rationalized
here.
that? I went with the two North Stars that were on both Stanley Cup Finals teams, Smith and Broughton. Dino, I went with just because, on Mount Rushmore,
It was a heck of a
he doesn't have to wear pants.
It's true.
So
That's
that'll
perfect
work
for
out
him.
good for him. And then Louis. Got to go with Louis.
Who doesn't wear
Player,
pants either? No.
player and coach and general manager and chef, I believe, for the North Stars at various times.
Well,
No wild guys on my list, though.
Here's where I went. And actually, I'm going to I was vacillating about Louis.
That's a good word.
But as a player, I mean, he also would look good because he's chiseled now. He's got the chiseled look. So Modano, Cicerelli, Louis, and Broughton completely shutting out the Wild players.
One thing I looked up because I thought, how can you leave all the wild guys out? And
Gaborik would have been the only one.
I looked at Gaborik, but then I looked at the stats thanks to my good friends at Wikipedia, and it turns out that if you add up all the North Stars and Wild greats, Gaborik is only 8th in points per game. There were 7 North Stars that averaged more points per game in their days in Minnesota than Mr. Gaborik did.
That's a more wide open game then.
So I left him out. You could have had, though, the team of 18,000 because the most valuable thing for the Wild has been the fact that they can sell out that place game after game, year after year, even though many of those years were putting a less than championship product on the ice. Would you agree?
Whatever you say. Now, if you have your own group that you'd like to do, Vikings, Twins, the hybrid of the Lakers, Wolves, and the hybrid of the North Stars, Wild, send it to Kevin.
Yeah, it's tweet it to theloopnow.com or at the Loop Now.
There you don't even know the name of it.
I don't even know the name.
Kevin Cusick, I'm Bob Sansevere. That's CJ Sinner, who you can't see. One of these days we're going to have to come around on this side. You want to come now? There you go. Hi there. We'll see you later.